Hello, friends. Welcome back. I feel it's been so long since I've recorded a podcast. I knew that it was going to be a busy month, so I made sure to batch and record ahead and get some awesome guests on for you. So I hope you've been enjoying the last couple episodes that you've heard. And now here I am. Now I have many solo cast episodes coming up. So get ready, y'all. Buckle up. Buckle up. This episode that you're listening to right now is airing in June. This will be the first episode of June 2023. And we're coming up right on our 5 years of marriage. Our anniversary is June 9th. So next week's episode is going to be Danny and I coming live to you to share with you 5 lessons that we have learned after 5 years of marriage. I'm really excited for that. We plan to sit down this week. We already have a few ideas of some major life lessons that have come through for us recently, especially after attending that couples retreat together. And we're really excited to share that with you. And we've also, in April, we crossed over the 10-year mark of being together. So we have officially been together a decade. Crazy, 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 crazy. But today's episode, we are talking about king and queen worship. And this has been something that has really been a game changer for us in our marriage, in our relationship, in our intimacy. And also last night, we hosted a masterclass or a workshop rather for couples on how to make scheduled sex sexy. And king and queen worship was, I would say, like the meat and potatoes of our workshop last night. We took the couples through a meditation. I led the ladies through a meditation for them to really feel into their queen energy and start to picture and visualize what a queen worship experience, like ideally, what would that look like for them? And while they were doing that meditation and visualization, they had their partners there with them, giving them some soft, loving touch. Some of them got a shoulder massage, some of them got their feet rubbed, some of them got their hair played with, whatever that woman that was on the workshop with us last night, whatever she asked for from him during that time, for her to feel and just really enhance that queen energy for her, she was able to receive. And then vice versa, Danny led the men through a king worship visualization for them to then feel into their king power and their king energy. And then the women, they got to ask their ladies for their soft, loving touch and what they wanted to receive throughout that. And so similar things, head scratches, shoulder rubs, things like that. So it was, I literally, I guess I'm ovulating, so I already just feel like high on life these next couple of days, but just to be able to do this work and share what has been working with us and share insight and inspiration to other couples it's just been so enjoyable. And then recently kind of bringing Danny into the mix of this and seeing him step into that power for himself in that leadership aspect of, him being in that light of leading other couples too. It's been awesome. And while Danny does not have he's not a sex therapist, he's not a sex coach, he doesn't gone through the training that I have, for him to be able to accompany me on these workshops, it just brings such a beautiful energy and light to the experiences because he is sharing purely from his heart and how he's sharing from his own personal experiences of me bringing these things into our relationship for us to try. And it's again, it's so cool to see him in that light and kind of see him in action, leading people through meditations. It was only about a year and a half ago that he even started meditating himself. And so now to be leading people through those things, it's just awesome. I'm so proud of him. And another great thing that I think that our dynamic brings is that, I've been doing this for a long time, right? So this dynamic that Danny brings into our experiences is that it's almost like he's looking at it through these rose-colored glasses. Like he's looking at it through really like a first timer for a lot of these things. He is in a lot of ways just dipping his toes into this work that we're doing. So when he's on these workshops, he gets to bring that presence and that energy to our calls and to our in-person experiences. And for so many of the couples that we've worked with so far, a lot of the men are in the exact same place that he was just a year ago. You know, the women are, maybe the women are, you know, already doing some yoga practices or some meditation practices, or maybe they're getting into breath work. Maybe they've started attending some retreats. Like they've been on their personal development journey for a little bit already. And now the men, and this makes so much sense, right? Because women, we are the leaders of love. We are the ones that are going to pave the way and be in our femininity and show you the way to love in our relationships and in our nucleus. So it's amazing to finally see these men getting on board, and then to witness them, how they first showed up and then how they are leaving these experiences. It's incredible to see, you guys, because you see this transformation working. You see these men, and sometimes it's women too. Actually, last night's workshop, the woman was very new to all of this, and it was actually her husband that listened to the podcast and, you know, invited them to attend the workshop last night. So it's what was I getting at? It's just incredible to witness that and see the transformation of people going through experiences and stepping into this vulnerability that it takes to do this kind of work, and just seeing that lightness and that playfulness that comes out on the other end after going through these things. It was really, really, really wonderful to see. So I'm excited for Danny and I to continue doing these workshops. I would like to say that we're going to be doing them monthly. However, it's just, it's like things come up in our life, in our relationship. And I get this, it's like this lightning bolt hits me. I'm like, we need to do a workshop on this. Like other people need to hear this. So stay tuned for those. We would love to do some more in-person ones, though with summer here in Michigan, that can be a challenge because in Michigan, we only get a few hours of summer around here. So people mainly want to be outside enjoying the water and their boats and the beach and all that good stuff. So maybe perhaps more in-person things coming up in the fall once summer is gone. But for now, we're enjoying the hell out of summer because finally it is here. I officially turned on my air last night because it was so hot in our house. Okay, so let's jump into this. So King and Queen worship. Again, that was the bulk of our workshop last night. And you're going to get on this podcast today just like a little scratching of the surface, if you will. We're just scratching the surface about what is King and Queen worship. How would you go about setting it up? How would you, make sure that you're doing the right things, quote unquote, right things for your partner? And some of these questions that I got on social media, like what happens when I've planned this whole thing and then it comes down to it and my partner is just not into receiving in that time frame or at that moment, So we're going to talk through about how to navigate that as well. But first, I just want to share around the importance of prioritizing intimacy and this thought around, scheduling sex. I've done an episode on this, years really at the beginning of our relationship of my podcasting, because I remember we were living in our old house when when I recorded this. So at least almost 3 years ago. But, intimacy is such a crucial aspect of any relationship, but oftentimes we can just neglect it because life gets in the way, right? These demands, these stressors of life kind of get in our way. And for whatever reason, it is our partner or our relationship that gets pushed to the back burner. But prioritizing intimacy can make all the difference in keeping your relationship strong and fulfilling. It's in scheduling intimacy, it could seem like it's just such this mechanical approach to something that you maybe feel should be spontaneous and natural, but it can actually be incredibly helpful in ensuring that both partners are actually making time for each other on a regular basis. This is one of the things that I hear a lot from people that are interested in coaching or in my DMs, is that they're wanting to have more consistent sex. more consistent sex, more sex, to say it shortly. But then also I asked them, I'm like, I mean, if you just had a quickie every day, would you feel fulfilled in that? My guess is likely no, because if you are only engaging in quickies with one another, and it's like you're trying to get to point A to point B as quick as possible to get it over with, right? Like check that box for the day. Are you really actually feeling that connection and that depth with your partner? Maybe you are, but my guess is probably not. So yes, that frequency of sex can definitely help, but also what are you doing with your time that you are prioritizing for intimacy in your relationship? And how can you get the quality of that time, of that intimacy and enjoyment top notch, if you will? And so that's really where this idea of doing a king and queen worship experience can come in. So, and what I found too with couples that I've worked with over the last few years is that when they have really taken on the reins and really accepted this concept of scheduling sex, it has actually helped increase the spontaneous sex that is happening as well. Because what happens is when you are engaging in intimacy, you're having enjoyable, pleasurable experiences, your brain is releasing all of those happy hormones. And when your brain is releasing those happy hormones more often, it's going to start wanting to crave those happy hormones more often, which is then where, boom, the spontaneous sex comes into play. So if you can just kind of wrap your head around this and change your mindset around scheduling sex and not thinking of it as like, oh, this is what it's come to. Like we've become the couple that has to schedule sex to be able to, prioritize each other. And I would challenge you to just like X that out of your brain, congratulate yourselves for, if you're going to call it scheduling sex, like congratulate yourselves for making the time for your intimacy and making the time for one another. So by setting aside specific times to really connect intimately with each other, you can actually avoid that frustration and disappointment that comes with those feelings that can accompany us of neglect or even being ignored by your partner. And it provides you that opportunity to communicate openly about each other's needs and about your desires, which then can lead to that deeper understanding and connection, which again, coming back to it, this is really my guess of what people are wanting in the relationship is that deep understanding and connection to their partner. So again, scheduling intimacy, it can really create this space for more spontaneity. And this allows partners to really make time for themselves, to be fully present and in that moment. So if you are in your relationship right now and you're feeling disconnected from your partner and you feel like you're struggling to make intimacy work, consider scheduling it. Honestly, consider scheduling it. Keep listening to this podcast today. And it might feel awkward at first. In fact, it probably will feel awkward at first. It's like you got this thing on the calendar if you're going real official with it. And you're like, okay, it's Wednesday, 6:00. You're in the living room kind of looking across at each other and you're like, all right, what do you want to do? It can be a little awkward. And, so planning something like a king or queen worship that we're going to talk about today could really take the guessing out of it about what are you going to do at that time. So yes, and making it really this natural, enjoyable part of your routine, and just remembering, again, I can't hit this home enough. Prioritizing intimacy isn't just about that physical connection. It is about building that emotional intimacy and strengthening your bond with your partner. That is what this is. That is the end goal. That is the end game. That is what we're all wanting. All right. So jumping into king and queen worship. So what is king and queen worship even? This is an experience and a type of, I'm going to use worship in air quotes, but really honing in on this, like, I am catering to you. I am worshiping you. I am loving you. All of my intention, all of my love, all of my connection, everything is, I'm pouring my heart and soul into you for these next however many hours you're going to engage in this. And this really helps to create this atmosphere of just extravagance and royalty. And yes, you may already be in a relationship where you're helping each other with chores and you're loving each other and you're exchanging in hugs and cuddles and kisses and sex is already happening. But when you take it, think of this as like you're kicking it up a notch. And and the awesomest part about this is that if I'm scheduling a king worship for Danny, in my mind, I'm not going into this experience thinking, okay, well, what will I get out of this? This is truly a moment and a time that I've carved out and I've planned to love on him to where I'm not expecting anything in return. I'm not expecting, okay, I just did this for him. Now he better schedule a queen worship for me, or I'm doing all of this for him. So I better be getting my orgasms in too. That's not what this is about. And as Danny actually said last night on our workshop with the couples, he's like, while you don't expect that reciprocation, oftentimes there is reciprocation that happens, right? Because if I'm pouring into him and he's feeling so loved and so turned on and so energized and so seen in his masculine, of course, not of course, but yeah, of course, a lot of times then that is going to have him be like feeling so much into himself that he is going to want to bring me into that experience and and shower me with the same love in return. And him in his king energy, in his masculine energy, whew, yes, please. Yes, please. Like that is my fucking husband right there, so that there is that natural reciprocation, that natural receiving of pleasure that happens when you're on the other end and being the one that's planning these experiences. And same for him. If he's planning a queen worship experience for me, perhaps he draws me a bath and it's all lit by candles and he gives me a half hour, an hour to myself in there for me just to be in my feels, be in my feminine, like just be with myself, be in me. And then he joins me in the bath, and so even in that time where he's giving me all that love, he's giving me one of the most beautiful things in the world, which is time, uninterrupted time. Let me clarify that, uninterrupted time. Of course, when he then enters me, like I'm feeling so turned on. I'm feeling like so with myself, so relaxed, so chill, like so loved that I just want to wrap him. I just want to embrace him into my arms when he joins me in that experience. So while there's not to expect any reciprocation, the reciprocation is likely going to be present. And I hope that makes sense. But an experience like this, it can involve music, it can involve food, drink, decor, activities, anything that is fitting for the king or the queen in your life. And the experience really aims to inspire participants to embrace their inner royalty and live a regal lifestyle even after the experience is over. So we like to schedule ours generally on Sundays, usually has been what it is. I guess Saturdays or Sundays, but for many hours over time. And I like to send calendar invites for these. That's a little form of sexting, if you will, when he's out at work and I, send him a calendar invite for a king worship, Sunday night at 5 p.m. I know from his experience and what he's told me that brings a smile to his face, and that really, that gives him something to look forward to for that weekend. Or if he is away on a guy's weekend, or and I get that invite that this, the Sunday or the Monday, whenever that he's coming home, he has a queen worship scheduled for me to make up for all the time that he's been gone. So that's really what this experience can look like. So when you're setting the stage for this, you really want to choose a location that is going to be fitting for the experience that you want to create. So generally, you have probably heard before from us, we have a room in our house. We can call it a sex room, an intention room, a meditation room. It's all of the above. It is really an intention room. We go in there to be intentional with our time. And that's where we have, it's our guest bedroom. So there's a bed in there, there's a massage table in there, there's all my crystals are in there. The top drawer is all full of fun things for us to explore with when we're in that room. And it's just a beautiful experience that we have every time we go in there. So when he is, or when one of us is setting the stage, generally that's our go-to. So, and if you follow me on social media, you've probably seen this before, but when, let's say if he's created this for me, when I walk into that room, I immediately notice the smell. So there's likely an incense going, or we have the diffuser, maybe a candle, some sort of smell. That's the first thing that I notice. Second thing I notice is the temperature. And actually, if you go to my website, How to Sex Up Your Space is a free handout that I have on there. And that's going to give you kind of all of these things that I'm diving into right now. But I notice the temperature of the room. It's warm, it's inviting. I don't feel cold. I don't have a chill when I walk in there. So if I'm wearing lingerie, or I'm planning to get naked or undressed or anything, I'm not going to be, shivering and frigidly cold. So that always means so much to me when he takes the time to turn on that heater beforehand to make sure that the room is nice and toasty. Or vice versa, if it's summertime, let's say, these last few days we haven't had the air on here. So him going in there and turning on the fan so that it is a little bit cooler and not so like sticky, hot, humid. So smell, temperature, and then the lighting. So we have the color changing light bulb in there. So I walk in, so it smells good. It's warm. It's got that red light. So the red light for us is just like, it is sex. It is sex for us. I don't know what is happening to my Apple Watch right now. Please disregard. Oh, as Danny is chatting with me. Hold, please. Technology, you guys. Danny is in our attic, in our garage right now. He's like, I don't have my phone, and this is the only way I had to get a hold of you. So the walkie-talkie app on our Apple Watches. All right. Anyways, so where was I? Red light. Okay, so it's just a vibe when you walk in there. So setting the stage for this experience, again, if he's drawing me a bath, we have color changing light bulb in our bathroom as well. So there's candles lit, maybe there's rose petals in the bath, or maybe he's used one of my like herbs of essential oils and things like that to really create that experience. There's music going on in the bathroom. So wherever he is leading me to, it's a vibe. It is with intention. It is with love. It is all things that he knows that I love and enjoy, and how I can feel loved by him. So using props, and when it comes to food, like cooking dinner, maybe he pours me a glass of wine. Definitely, there's usually wine involved. So all of these things that you can think of, like how can I show my love to her? How can I show my love to him in this experience? So music selection that they like, again, food or drink, maybe you get some champagne, maybe some hors d'oeuvres, like things, maybe you do a multi-course meal for her or for him. There's so many different ways to go about this. Now, the activities portion, considering really doing things that are favorite things of your partner. So I mentioned taking a bath. I mentioned the massage table. Dancing can be another one. Dancing can be really fun, a really connective experience. We actually, to open up our workshop last night, had the couples share a slow dance with each other, which is always just so sweet to witness. And, just different things. One of the couples last night, they were more of a homebody type of couple. And so when the man was going through his king visualization experience, what came up for him was actually going out. His ideal king worship experience would be his wife taking him out to a brewery for pizza and to be able to experience that. And so it's so different. Generally, this experience is going to be so different from what your day-to-day life looks like. As I said, think of this as like you're kicking it up a notch. So now when it comes to the sex piece, again, considering the sex piece and what it is that they will enjoy most. And so perhaps you're checking in with them and giving some options. Would you like this or this? Not you don't want them to have decision fatigue where they have to make so many decisions. And I think part of the masculine leadership that can show up in king and queen worship experiences is really making the decisions for them. Like, yes, they still have their voice. They can say no, or I'd rather do this, but really you're taking the guessing game out of it. And I think this is specifically and especially key when it comes to men planning a queen worship experience for their partner, because likely she is the one that is making all of the decisions on the day-to-day basis of the household. And really taking care of the day-to-day. So taking the decision out of it, like just letting her be in her feminine, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And generally what I find is that when you take all of these things, like sometimes for women, we feel like we have this armor in front of us, and this is blocking us from allowing to feel into our sexuality, or I have this thing that I need to do, or this thing upset me earlier in the day, or where are the kids taken care of, where are the dogs, like we have all these things creating armor against us and blocking us from really fulfilling and feeling into our sexual selves. So, when you create these experiences for her, for the men that are listening, or women, this does not have to be a heterosexual relationship, but when you create this experience for her, you're de-armoring her. You're letting her feel and be into herself and be into her feminine. And, and then vice versa for the man, you're letting him feel and be into his masculine, and what gets to be present and what gets to show up when he is fully in his masculine and you are fully in your feminine. I mean, beautiful, beautiful, magical things happen when that happens. Okay, so that is really the gist of a king and queen worship experience. And really encouraging, even after the experience is over, encouraging your person that you made this experience for to embody and continue living like that king or queen that he or she is, even after this experience is over. So an example of a king worship experience that I have done for Danny recently would be, let's see. So he was away for the weekend, and I was missing him. I was excited for him to come home. He was away, I think, for a bowling tournament. And so while he was gone away at the weekend, I sent him a calendar invite for a king worship experience for basically when he got home. And I know that after a weekend like this, it was a bowling tournament, I remember. So I know that generally he's probably sore, he's probably tired, he just wants to relax. And so when he got home, and I knew about what time he was going to be home. And so I started at about an hour after he was going to arrive from home. So he had time to unpack and shower and decompress for a little bit. But how it started then, I cooked him his favorite meal. He loves, what did I make him this time? I think I made a roast. I'm pretty sure I made a roast. Danny loves my pot roast. And so I cooked him, really Danny loves any food if I'm being honest, but specifically the roast. So I think I cooked him a pot roast, and I had that all ready for him. Actually, it's cooked in a crock pot. So he came into the smell of the house smelling like pot roast. I mean, already, boom, you're feeling like a king. Your woman has dinner ready for you. And so I serve him, right? I have him sit down, I serve him dinner, I pour his water, pour his milk, whatever he's drinking. I have his plate made, his utensils, everything is ready to go. Very much I'm catering to him. He's not having to make any decisions. After I get him everything, I ask, is there anything else that you need? Is there anything else that I can get you? We sit down, we enjoy our meal together. No TV is on, right? We're unplugged. We're very, very present and intentional with each other. We're catching up on his weekend and, chatting and all of that. So, and I'm giving him space to feel into himself, space to feel emotion, if that's coming up, whatever that looks like. And so we enjoy dinner. And then I lead him upstairs. And I instruct him, I say, next I'm going to lead you upstairs and I'm going to give you a full body massage over the next hour. So, go do what you need to do, undress, and I'll meet you up there. I'll be up there when you are ready. And so I have everything that I said about the room earlier. I have it all set up. Everything is ready to go. It's very warm, welcome, inviting, sexy, sensual. I have music playing, incense going. And I give him this amazing And I can say amazing because he even said during this that my skills are getting better. So, and I don't particularly love giving massages. So when I give him a massage, he knows that this is coming with so much love for him. And I know he loves receiving massage. So it's really me putting my own shit aside, really, and showing the fuck up for him and giving him the love and the touch, the physical touch that I know that he loves and that he deserves so much of. So give him this amazing 1 hour full body massage that ends in a tantric penis massage. I first ask if there's anything that feels not tended to. And then he said, my penis. And I said, great. That was next on my agenda. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. And then that goes into a tantric penis massage. Then we go to the bed. And with that, this can go either way. There's sometimes where, and I'm trying to think back if I was more in the dominant role for this experience, which I believe I was more in the dominant role for this experience. I knew, because again, I knew he wanted to rest. And so I'm doing all of the work. I'm giving, he is more in that submissive role of receiving. So we do all kinds of fun things during this experience. There's sex to be had, lots of orgasms that are had. And then after that, I then have him rest a little bit there, and I go downstairs and I draw him a bath, and I bring him downstairs, and again, same setting, love, intention, and I let him soak in this bath for a little bit by himself. And then I asked him, how much time do you want by yourself? Do you want time by yourself? And then, I just cleaned up a bit, and then I joined him in the bath. And so then we had this, it just ended with this beautiful, relaxing, him being in his king energy, him being able to relax. There has been another king worship that I've done where a little less extravagant, if you will, than that. I think we had less time, so I didn't do the dinner or anything like that, but I had planned this night. It was probably on a Tuesday because that's usually our night. And I sent him a text earlier that day and asked him what time he would be home. And I said, okay, please text me when you get home, and I will be waiting for you in our sex room. And when he walked in, same room is the vibe. And I am there, knelt down as his submissive and ready for him to do, allowing him to then step into his king power and his dominance in that moment and do whatever he wanted to do. He had full range with me at that time. So those are just two examples of king worship experiences that we have had here. And the queen worship experiences generally look similar to that first one. So generally dinner is cooked, massage, bath, candlelight, sex, all the sexy things that I love and enjoy so much. And it's kind of beautiful that we enjoy similar things for the most part. I love receiving massage, not giving massage so much, but that's okay. So so I hope this was helpful and enjoyable for you to hear. I hope you have a little bit more of an insight on what exactly is a king or queen worship. You could also call this, husband and wife worship. We could call it Danny and Rachel worship. It doesn't have to be king or queen if that doesn't fit with you. I do really enjoy king or queen though, because there's an energy behind that, behind feeling like a queen, feeling like a king. So keeping that in mind. And the last thing I want to know on this is what I said at the beginning. It's like, what happens when it comes down to it and you're just not interested in it in that moment? Maybe you had a bad day, maybe you're not feeling well. In some cases, having an experience like this could be exactly what you need. And in other cases, you might be so much in your head that it's impossible for you to even enjoy and receive what your partner has produced for you. So just with that being said, really honor the fluidness of this plan and know that it can change. You might have had this whole thing planned and she in that moment might ask for something else. And I think that's part of her feeling into her queen energy, is feeling queen enough and worthy enough to be able to ask for what she wants in that moment, and for you to honor it. And, and again, vice versa. You could also ask, if it's coming down to it and they're like, I'm just really not feeling it, not feeling good today. Asking what it is that they need in that moment to feel more connected, to feel more connected to themselves specifically. So helping them get out of their head and into their body, because a lot of times that's what we need. We're so much in our head up here all the time. It's like we just need to come down and get into our body and connect with the emotions that are present with us. And lastly, if it needs to be rescheduled, that's okay. Life is going to happen. These are not, you got to embrace the awkwardness and the fluidness of this. It's not always going to go exactly as planned. So if it needs to be rescheduled, if it seems like the time, and use your instinct on this, but if it seems like it would be an okay time to reschedule it, I recommend rescheduling it right then and there if you can, so that you are both still maintaining this as a priority in your relationship. And especially if it is things like something like dinner and all of that is been prepared, you don't kind of want the things to go to waste, the energy to waste, the food to waste, any resources or activities maybe that they planned. You don't want those to go to waste. So if you can reschedule for as soon as you can, that would be my recommendation. And you're also, if you're the one that's like, oh, I'm really not feeling it today, rescheduling shows your partner that they still matter, that you still care and you still want this experience with them. So that can help with the rejection piece, because rejection is likely going to start to set in for them if they've gone through and planned this thing and then now you're not into it. And so to help kind of deactivate that rejection feeling a little bit, rescheduling it, and rescheduling it and then making sure that it happens on that rescheduled time would be my suggestion there. So last resource, if you haven't yet gone to my website, rachelmain.com, you can download my relationship regroup on there. That's one thing that I mentioned to the couples last night. This is one of my most downloaded resources, and it is one of my best helpful tools for couples to really schedule and plan and get on the same page with each other. So this walks you through having essentially a weekly meeting with one another. And in this is when you can see in your calendar, where is there time and space for a king worship or a queen worship? Where is there time for us to take a walk together, go on a bike ride together, have a hot tub night together, whatever that looks like for you in your relationship. So that is, again, rachelmain.com. Go to the resources tab. That is there, as well as that Sex Up Your Space. There's many free resources down there for you to download. So go ahead and check those out. And if you decide to partake and do a king and or queen worship with your partner, please, 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 please message me. I want to hear about it. Share it with me. If you take a picture, share it on your social and tag me. I would absolutely love to hear about this and how it goes for you. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you loved this episode, and stay tuned again next week for our episode on 5 lessons that we have learned over 5 years of marriage. I imagine this is going to be fun and juicy and heartfelt. And yeah, all the things that I'm here for. Okay, y'all, have a great rest of your day. Happy June, happy summer. I will catch you on the flip side.